Hi, it's Siobhan and Harry, and today is themed around why you should never go into the outside.
I look forward to being scared for my life.
Hmm. Right, here we go. Here is your first one.
Okay, so
I'll just make that bigger. You can read it.
the title of this thread is Eerie Towns, Disappearing Diners, and Creepy Gas Stations. What's your true and explained story of being in a place that shouldn't exist? And economy_cactus says, by my hometown, there was a hiking trail that people went to very infrequently. It was along the side of the Niagara escarpment, so it had some climbable cliffs and some very shallow caves that you could crawl around on. I went with some friends when I was 19, 20, and we were crawling around and found a cave that went pretty deep. We had never been in there before and had never even seen it before, so we pushed forward and decided to check it out, even though we had no flashlights. I can see where this is a problem.
Every single thing I've seen about this is a red flag.
No flashlights, huh?
Cave we'd never seen before.
Okay. And this was when cell phones didn't really have a flashlight function.
Go into the cave that you've never seen before in an area you're familiar with. That's not mystically dangerous at all.
Don't do this.
That's not the start of half a dozen different horror fantasy novels. Yeah.
We stepped into the cave and it was easily 20 to 30 degrees cooler than outside. Okay, then you leave. You leave right there. Upon looking around with which light we had, we noticed it was really clean inside that cave. As in, it didn't have beer cans littered everywhere, like all the other small caves did. Well, in there, we got a really eerie feeling after being in there shortly, hearing weird and strange things. Feeling like we're being touched, poked, and pulled, and not having any way to figure out who was doing it because it was too dark. There are fairies. This is a fairy cave. You leave the fairy cave and say sorry and hope that they don't mess up your way home and trap you in a fairy circle.
That's a good addition to the recording.
Mm-hmm. We were just using lighters to see what was around us.
My concern with that is if there's natural gas of some kind coming up.
Yeah. We were convinced one of us was messing with the others, although any time we sparked up a lighter, we were all decently far apart. We decided to hightail it out of there after only a few minutes, convinced to come back with flashlights. We came out to see it was now dark outside. It's dusk outside. When we entered it was midday. Somehow we had lost roughly 3 hours inside of this cave. It's fairy time. It's fairy time, okay? It's fairy time. Don't ever go back. We went back with flashlights the next week, but have never been able to find this cave again. That's a fairy cave.
Mm-hmm.
They got into fairy cave land.
Fairy cave land?
Yeah. The land of the fairy cave.
As opposed to ordinary fairyland?
Well, it was in a cave, so it wasn't ordinary fairyland, was it?
Well, I mean, isn't the cave the entrance to fairy?
Well, obviously they hadn't actually gotten to fairy, because they hadn't found any fairies.
And didn't they?
They hadn't found any dancing. I guess they had found fairies. Maybe they're fairy centuries.
I enjoy that he had 8 people asking him where it is.
Yeah, don't go find it, people. This is the kind of thing that you avoid.
Also enjoy how many people are suggesting various kinds of natural gas leaks and carbon monoxide. And
I think if it looks like a fairy and sounds like a fairy, then it's a fairy.
Unless it's a natural gas leak.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, the thing that concerns me is that they kept using their lighters, but I mean, that could be carbon monoxide because that's not flammable, but it was a natural gas leak. I wonder if, wait, hang on, they probably don't mean natural gas as in the fossil fuel, they probably mean gas that is naturally being released. I don't know, actually. I should know this. I don't know this. Science! I used to know some. Okay. So that wasn't too scary, right?
That was just weird. Weird and creepy.
Is now a good time to remind you that we live next to...
We're not going in any caves without torches.
We're not going in any caves at all.
No.
That.
No.
We stay on the outside of the mountain.
Yep. If we go into any caves, we're taking Holly.
Holly as in the plant?
Yes.
Why?
Holly is a good defense against fairies.
Is it?
Yeah. I did my research.
I didn't... You sure you don't mean Rowan?
Rowan also. Holly is also.
Why? I've never heard of that one.
I have no idea.
Which culture is that from?
UK.
No, like which bit?
I can't remember. This is research I did in 2008. So
Fair.
I only know it's Holly because it ended up in my book.
Right, okay. I don't think that one's Irish.
Probably not. Sounded English. But it was a while ago.
Might be Welsh, maybe?
Maybe.
Their fairies
know
are very
Rowan.
different.
Rowan is definitely also a thing.
Okay, so here is the next one, and in case you didn't know, our entire thing is she doesn't see these until the video, because getting her reaction is fun.
Okay, towns and diners and gas stations. So Duluth849 posted, I posted this on Let's Not Meet a while back. This story takes place in the mid-90s, a time before widely used cell phones and GPS.
It's amazing how many stories happen in the time before cell phones, isn't it?
My two best friends and I, freshly able to drive, decided we would head out on a Saturday to a water park in southern Missouri, about 3 hours from our hometown in northwest Arkansas. We had never been before and just used road maps to get there. We had a pretty fantastic time, but as the sun started to reach the tree line, we thought we ought to head home. It's about 7 o'clock and we missed a turn, but my friend Paul, who was navigating, said not to worry, another turn was coming up that would get us there just as fast. The next turn took us from detour to completely lost. By 8 o'clock, we were on a road that seemed to be lacking in informative road signs and zero lights. We finally see a gas station and are relieved to get some directions as well as some gas. I go inside while Paul pumps the gas. This is honestly starting to sound like my murder horror book that I'm currently writing. We come inside, and a very friendly old man in his early 60s, who gives us a very large grin and says, "Well, hello there!" Leghorn-esque. Looked like an extreme hillbilly, but very pleasant. We explained that we're needing gas and wanted to fill up. He explained that he was about to shut down for the night, but would be happy to oblige us. He then said something I'll never forget. "You have to make haste, though. Tonight is buffer night." This is a harbinger. Taylor and I looked at each other and shared an awkward look. We asked him if he could point out our location on the road map. When he was finding it, two people entered the shop from the back and called out for the old man. He said he was up front. The two approached us, a man and a woman, and at first looked confused. Then, as though hit with an epiphany, they smiled. They asked the old man, "Are these the guests tonight?" He shot them a look and said, "No, these are some lost children." The way he said children caused the hairs on my neck to stand up. Not sure why. They looked at us and said, "The three of you should make haste, because today is buffer night." Two things scared the shit out of me right then. The first being, how did they know about Paul pumping gas out front when they came from the back? And the second being, that they repeated the old man verbatim. We clarified the directions to get back on the main highway and paid for the gas without waiting for change. Taylor and I booked it out of the gas station to find Paul already in the passenger seat. And when he got in the car, we were nearly airborne from the speed that we took off. Before we could say anything, Paul told us how 3 men from across the street stood under a tree just watching him. He waved, but they didn't move a muscle. We drove just as fast as we could until we got back to the highway. To this day, I will still have a nightmare every so often about that gas station and what my imagination has twisted buffer night into being. Ooh. Well, they listened to the Harbinger and got out of the horror movie they were in.
I was like, my entire reaction was, I'm pretty sure there was a Torchwood episode about this. It was nice that he warned them to leave, though. Like, he's clearly participating in Buffer Night, but he was like, children, you are not already set to be victims of this. You must leave while you can.
You are not my appointed victims. What are you doing here? Do not stay, or you too will be part of Buffer Night.
It would be sad if you were caught up in Buffer Night.
Is it buffer or buffet?
I don't know. I enjoyed that actually, I think several of the commenters thought that maybe they were saying buffet and he was wanting to close up quickly so that he could go to it. And that after they left, the people in the station were like, wow, those young people seem really freaked out with the idea of a catfish buffet. What was that about?
That's a hilarious thought. But I don't think so.
What have we learned from this?
Never talk to people at gas stations.
No, I think you need to talk to people at gas stations in case it's buffer night.
Don't stop at gas stations. Always follow the map. Never take a late turn. If you do take a late turn, stop, look at the map, and go back.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just keep driving.
There
Why would
were
you
a
just
lot
keep
of
driving?
stories on there, actually, about that exact thing where they ended up driving up to a clan meet. Always retrace your steps. Never just keep driving to see what happens. Yeah, my entire thing on reading these, which is why I decided to do a different theme for this one, really was just, there are reasons I don't go into the outside. Cities are good. Cities are great.
Cities are good.
Serial killers, well, they also live there, but you can stay in your house with doors locked.
Yeah. Locked doors are good.
Yeah. We hope you like that one. We have more spooky things to come. More spooky things for you to discover on air.
How much fun.
Aww.
So much fun.
Aww. Do you like